And right, Prem Catchup. Right, let's go. Everton 1, Arsenal 0. Okay, I'm gonna ask you, what's your most hated month? For me, it's probably November. It's wet, windy, and there are miserable people on the street. Mostly look like they want to bite off their own face. But for Arsenal fans, this is the month where you historically, your title challenge usually crumbles into wet cookie dough. I mean, it happened in 2008 when Eduardo broke his leg at Birmingham. You drew 2-2. William Gallas sucked like a toddler who's just been told he's not having ice cream. And you didn't win the league. I mean, 2014, the same. Top of the league, you traveled to Anfield in February, and you're 4-0 down after 20 minutes. I mean, people say,
oh, well that's irrelevant because there's no Arsenal DNA from that team in this current one.
Oh, what are you talking about? Arteta literally scored a penalty in that match. Arteta has talked about this horror match in the All or Nothing documentary, and he admitted that he literally gave up on the pitch. I mean, this is what happens to Arsenal in February. I was on the kickoff on Sunday. Yeah. Me. The guy only leaves his cave to eat leftover lasagna out of his neighbor's bin. Ah, Christ, well, poor Brian's kitchen probably stinks of moldy scarf. By the way, if you want to see me on the kickoff again, go tell them. But I was trying to tell this to Marv, the Arsenal fan, that February is Arsenal's month to fear. And guess what? You've just travelled to Everton and lost. You've been bullied off the pitch by a bunch of blokes coached by Sean Dyche. This is supposed to be a new Arsenal mentality. But I'm sorry, I've seen Arsenal lose at this ground too many times in the past. Arsene Wenger lost 7 times at Goodison Park, and since he left, it's got even worse. There was a 1-0 Everton win in April 2019, then a 2-1 Everton win in December 2020, then another 2-1 Everton win in December 2021. Arsenal have not won a match at Everton in nearly 6 years, and you're top of the league and have lost in February again. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm terrified. Yes, well done Sean Dyche for squeezing 3 points out of the Toffees, but for a team scrapping for the title, to get bullied off the ball by modern day Big Sam Allardyce football. But the fact is that this is the same predictable trend of Arsenal showing weakness in a crunch time of title races. The fact that it's clearly still there is worrying. Wolves 3, Liverpool 0. Liverpool in 2023 are an absolute wet foot Sunday. I'm sorry, but what has happened? Didn't it look like the Reds were getting their act together by winning 4 league games on the bounce? I mean, after the World Cup, this team actually looked refreshed. There was no crisis. I don't think Liverpool fans would have been spending Christmas Day miserably spiking their stew with vodka and picking fights with the cat. No! But since New Year's Day, they've scored once in the Premier League. And Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain goal, somebody who these days is about as much use as a suitcase filled with donkey piss. They've picked up 1 point, conceded 9 goals. Oh yeah, and were dumped out of the FA Cup. Lads, in 2023 alone, Wolverhampton Wanderers have stuck 5 goals past Liverpool. Brighton have scored 4. We've only been in 2023 for less than 5 weeks. I mean, during that match at Molineux, Jurgen Klopp must have felt like asking James Milner to just spit in his eyes. Anything so we wouldn't have had to watch this car crash of a match. By the way, quick interruption, just to let you know to subscribe, you absolute heroes. But also, this video is sponsored by Wash and Go. Lads, you may have seen my video about Wash and Go around the World Cup. It was insane. Yes, I showered myself with milk. Yes, I still stink of 3-month-old Weetabix. And yes, I shaved off poor old Niels' hair. I've still got a bag of it in the corner of this cave. I sometimes sniff it at night. But lads, the point is that the Wash and Go 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner is the ultimate time saver. Lads, this is going to save your hair. Well, I mean, unless you're bald, in which case, yeah, wear a hat. Lads, the 2-in-1 formula combines the cleansing power of shampoo with the health hair benefits of conditioner, all in one convenient step. This means you can get clean, healthy looking hair. The 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner is formulated with nourishing ingredients that works to strengthen and moisturize your hair, leaving it soft, shiny and manageable. Lads, I'm just speaking facts here. Honestly, go out there now, try it today. And really, you're gonna save your hair. Anyway, back into the video. I'm sorry, but to be 2-0 down to Wolves after just 12 minutes, giving Craig Dawson the freedom of the penalty spot to smash in a goal in his debut. I mean, what about in the second half? When Thiago Alcantara, one of the true world stars on the pitch, chose to track Ruben Neves with all the effort of a grandma at the gym. This reminded me of when Liverpool were beaten up 3-0 by Watford 3 years ago. I mean, you know who was sitting on the Watford bench that day? Craig Dawson. This man is just making a career habit out of his team smashing Liverpool by 3. Honestly, after the full-time whistle that day, he and Troy Deeney were probably both celebrating with a pie, but that was fine. That was just a blip. It was actually the last away game before football shut down for 3 months. But this is 3 straight Premier League defeats on the road. This is 3 Watfords on the bounce. It's horrible. absolute nonsense. And it was just unsettling to watch. Honestly, if you're a Liverpool fan watching this match, it was a bit like trying to eat a pizza whilst watching The Whale. Yeah, don't do that. You will get sick on your shoes. Lads, if this 2023 form was happening under Roy Hodgson, then Liverpool fans would be on the verge of storming the pitch. They talk about the Klopp, Borussia Dortmund burnout in 2015. I don't think this is as dramatic as that, but there are players in this Liverpool team with burnt out feet. I'm guessing poor old Andy Robertson. He looks like Frodo Baggins after taking the ring to Mordor. Ever since moving from Hull, this guy's been asked to run until his feet fall off. I mean, stick him on a treadmill now, and I'm guessing he probably chokes up his breakfast after 7 minutes. He's been a great servant for the club, but Christ above, he needs a comfy life now. Just get him moved to West Ham, where less is asked of your legs, because he's just one of these players who've outstayed their welcome. Honestly, but like if Pierce Brosnan was still making James Bond films in 2010, what? When he had a white beard and a belly filled with fish fingers and beer, and offering Mo Salah a contract worth nearly £500,000 a week. Does anyone think that was a good idea now? They should have done what Arsenal did 5 years ago. They played the Alexis Sanchez situation perfectly. I mean, they drained his peak years, and then instead of forcing him to sign a ludicrously expensive contract at 29, they just flushed him out to Man United for monster wages, and he was then about as useful as a dog poo in a shoe. Can you imagine if Sanchez had signed a 5-year deal at the Emirates in 2018? The guy would have just been an expensive rat eating donuts on the bench. And Salah, Liverpool fans, you've officially got 2.5 more years of this. A shaky shadow of a man who's been off form for a year. That world-class superstar who was scoring consecutive hat-tricks away at Watford and Man United at the back end of 2021, that man is gone. These days, he's about as threatening as a chicken with the flu. Honestly, there are so many problems at Liverpool right now, like the club's failure to buy midfielders, to the point where Klopp is choosing to pick Stefan Bajcetic, a Spain under-18 midfielder who wasn't even alive the last time Arsenal won the league. This is a kid who's still going to the toilet in his nappies when Liverpool won the Champions League in Istanbul, and yet throwing him into the deep end like this is the equivalent of chucking a toddler down a water slide. Honestly, right now Liverpool are a mess. Nottingham Forest won, Leeds 0. This result was huge. Nottingham Forest are staying up, and that's all there is to it. Fair play, Steve Cooper. This man was literally on the brink of the sack, but you've turned it around. You've actually managed to tame a dressing room filled with 30 new players. That's an entire squad of people having to cope with the pressures of a new job. I mean, Forest's transfer policy has mostly been madness. Can someone tell me, what is the point of Andre Ayew? Lads, if Cooper manages to keep this Forest squad up, if he's actually able to juggle an entire squad of debutants, and he actually gets them to survive when he barely used any of these guys last season, he is literally learning on the job. I think this is marvelous. To find his best team, to keep everybody happy. This is actual British managerial achievements. I mean, if Forest stay up, then Cooper is on another level to Graham Potter. I mean, this is a man who's also nurtured the children at Liverpool's academy. He actually got England under 17s to win a World Cup. And let's not forget, last year he took over a Forest team heading for League One. I know, I often say that this guy looks a bit like if you crossed Jim Carrey with a scarecrow. And yes, I'm sure he hasn't kissed a woman since 1994, but I honestly believe this guy is the next great British coach. Honestly, right now, people are talking about Liverpool replacing Klopp with Tommy Tuchel. But to me, the next manager of Liverpool is Steve Cooper. Brentford 3, Southampton 0. Nathan Jones is hilarious. This is a guy who's so ridiculously out of his depth, it's untrue. This is a league where the best managers reside. I mean, Aston Villa have a 4-time Europa League champion. The former manager of Real Madrid coaches Wolves. And the last time Carlo Ancelotti was in this league, he was given tools like Fabian Delph and Michael Keane. And yes, Southampton, instead of targeting a big name from abroad, they just hired the manager of Luton Town. I thought Jones was getting somewhere after managing to knock Man City out of the League Cup. But the guy has come out after being thrashed at Brentford and admitted that so far he's been pandering to Premier League stars. And that we're about to now see
the real Nathan Jones.
The guy's been Southampton boss for 3 months. This isn't 20 minutes into his 4th training session. He has been there for a quarter of a year, and only now does he know what to do? He's basically just admitted that he's been intimidated by seeing Premier League players in the flesh. But then, I mean, why are we surprised? This guy was a massive failure in the Championship with Stoke. These are actual quotes.
I've been very successful playing a fluent style. Luton were a real aggressive, front-footed side. Statistically, there weren't many better than me around Europe in terms of aggression, clean sheets, defending the box, balls in the box, all those sorts of things. We were pound for pound the best because we were spending next to nothing and producing so much, and I've got away from that.
I'm sorry, what? It was Luton Town. Why is he talking like he didn't lose 5-0 at home to Birmingham last season? How could a guy who last year was losing by 7 goals at full pull up. Talk with all the confidence of Tyson Fury in the ring. Honestly, I feel bad for Southampton because Jones is taking you down. Brighton 1, Bournemouth 0. If the league stops right now, we live in a world where both Brighton and Brentford will qualify for Europe. Brighton would be in the Europa League, Brentford in the Conference League. Lads, at the start of the season, I tipped both clubs to go down. Be honest with me, people. Do I have snail sludge for brains? I didn't think either team would reach 40 points. Yeah, right now, they got a combined 77 points. And we're in February. Here was Caroline Matoma scoring a last-minute winner past Bournemouth. But, I mean, yeah, if Brighton and Hove Albion win their game in hand, then they are just 3 points off the Champions League. I'm holding my hands up. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I thought Roberto De Zerbi was just some overrated hipster coach from Serie A, and that really, he'd have all the actual tactical substance of an expired cauliflower, but actually, the man's the real deal. Unlike Graham Potter, who I will always say is an overrated puppet, who couldn't hold a candle to peak Alan Pardew. Speaking of which, Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. Don't say I did not warn you. I looked you all in the face and asked you, what has Graham Potter actually done?
He gets Brighton to play pretty football.
So, at times, Roberto Martinez made Wigan look like Brazil, and yet you all like to tell me that his mere presence as Portugal boss makes you all feel physically ill. I don't care if he did make Brighton easy on the eye. I mean, right now, Vincent Kompany has made Burnley pretty to watch, which honestly is like a makeup stylist managed to get Susan Boyle to win Miss World. But, I mean, should Kompany be handed a monster job in the Champions League yet? Lads, Graham Potter had never even been to a Champions League match in his life. He'd only ever seen this competition on TV, and yet you've given him a 5-year Chelsea deal? I mean, Brendan Rodgers had Swansea playing slick stuff back in 2011. I mean, but should he be given the Chelsea job? I think some Chelsea fans would sooner eat their own hair for tea. Newcastle 1, West Ham 1. Can everyone please get off Alan Saint-Maximin's back? Right now, I'm scared because players like Saint-Maximin are rare. Someone who can get you off your seat with pure dribbling and magic in his feet. Lads, my favorite players of all time are dribblers. That's why if you see me on a football pitch, I mean, sure, I might smell like a bachelor's corpse, but I've got stepovers for days. And yeah, football is slowly becoming perfected and purified to a point where luxury footballers just don't exist anymore. Perfect example is that Newcastle are 4th in the Premier League, but they might just be a better team without ASM on the pitch. This guy was back in the starting 11 here against West Ham, and most Geordies will tell you that he's about as frustrating as watching a cow try to sing. Anyhow, ball is pretty on the eye, but it's also regimented and strict. I mean, under the Steve Bruce mess, sure, Saint-Maximin had a free role, like Jack Grealish had at Aston Villa, but modern Newcastle and Man City teams, you're just not allowed to lose the ball. But how stuffy is that? In my eyes, Saint-Maximin is world class at one thing: dribbling. Sure, it's only one attribute, yes, but I mean, so Mozart was only world class at one thing too. I mean, did he have any other talent than the piano? No, he probably failed all his other exams. Saint-Maximin is the greatest one-on-one dribbler in the Premier League, but it worries me now if you can't get into a team past Anthony Gordon. Is the ceiling really just being a big fish in an infected whirlpool created by Steve Bruce? I mean, the career of Wilfred Zaha has already sent shivers down my spine, that he is proof that there's no room for luxury, creative dribblers in world sport. Even Yannick Bolasie, a pure dribbling and entertainment sensation, his ceiling never went any higher than Everton's bench. While Ben Arfa, sure, he was officially signed by PSG, but really his career was just mid-table league and even he couldn't survive in a Steve Bruce cesspit. Does nobody remember when he was a lone flop at Hull? Sure, this was 2 points dropped by Newcastle, but honestly, are we watching Saint-Maximin fall? Are we seeing Newcastle actually outgrow this guy when he's only just 25? And are we now just going to see him sold to Fiorentina in June? Honestly, lads, if this is really a world where Saint-Maximin cannot survive at Newcastle, then I might just spend an hour crying on the loo. Aston Villa 2, Leicester 4. This game was insane. Lads, I already told you all that Leicester buying Aussie centre-half Harry Souttar was clearly them just trying to mould the next Harry Maguire. I mean, they're both square-headed centre-halves called Harry. 2 defenders who perform better for their countries than their clubs. And I called it. Souttar then scores a clumsy own goal in his debut. Honestly, this fella, just some chunky bloke bull from Stoke, is going to be the next Premier League me. Honestly, I am here for the Souttar banter era. But this is a weird match. A draw would probably be the fair result. But yeah, 22-year-old Brazilian winger Tete stole the show for Leicester and was the difference maker. But honestly, Brendan Rodgers and Unai Emery, 2 men who were once competing for the same Arsenal job, this was always going to be a tasty match. Man United 2, Crystal Palace 1. Casemiro is insane. I'm sorry, but listen, Man United, yeah, they showed grit and desire to grind out a quality 2-1 win over Crystal Palace. Marcus Rashford scored yet again, and Jeffrey Schlupp scored at Old Trafford. I guarantee at least 97% of people in that ground will have completely forgotten, but one of Sir Alex Ferguson's last ever acts as Manchester United boss was to bring Schlupp in on trial as a striker. I mean, no, it's not like he was a 12-year-old boy. Nah, lads, he was 20. He was supposed to be a future replacement for Robin van Persie. How weird is that? But lads, well done Man United for grinding out the win, but Casemiro sticking his hands around Will Hughes' neck. Honestly, Casemiro is intimidating enough. He looks like if Bane went on a diet. He honestly looks like someone who probably flushes puppies down the loo. He looks like a villain off Breaking Bad. I mean, would you let Casemiro babysit your kids? If there was nothing in the fridge, he'd probably bite off one of their feet. But how strange is it that in the build-up to the League Cup final, both Bruno Guimaraes and Casemiro, the big Brazilian battle in the middle of the park, both got sent off? Lads, all that means is that both guys are going to be fresh as a daisy for their midfield duel at Wembley. Honestly, doesn't that just make you want to drool all over your feet? Tottenham 1, Man City 0. Why do Man City keep losing at Spurs? Why are this club so terrified of Tottenham? This was the 6th time Pep Guardiola has lost away at Spurs. Man City have not actually beaten Tottenham away from home since 2018. So, is this really that huge a shock? This is just what happens. Tottenham at home is Guardiola's worst nightmare. It's not actually that huge a shock. And lads, calm down. There's been plenty of times where Man City have slipped up and everyone has thought that this Pep project was done. I thought that myself when they conceded 5 at home to Leicester. But they always get their act together and go again. So everyone just relax. Both Arsenal and Man City lost. So really, this weekend in the title race means nothing. But
Well done, Harry Kane!
He's not gonna watch this. Anyway, that's what you let me know. Let me know, alright? Let me know what you think of the Prem game week this week. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.